And this time in English. Hello, my name is Doran Ellen Beldotan in Sfat in Israel. And there's a very, very interesting item in the paper Yisrael Hayom, Israel Today, which is owned by the Adelson family in the United States and functions more or less as a political mouthpiece for Netanyahu. But every once in a while they have an item that's important, and this is one of those times. There is what's supposed to be a nostalgic piece. It's called 70 Years Afterward. And as part of that, the following is read. I'm going to be translating as I read it in Hebrew, so excuse me if I blow a little bit. Okay. The Minister of Immigration, Chaim Moshe Shapira, reported today in a press conference on the 22nd day of November that the year 1948 is expected to end with an aliyah of not less than 115,000 new immigrants. Among them, 20,000 from the beginning of the year of the establishment of the State of Israel, and 95,000 from the establishment of the State of Israel until the end of the year. Shapira detailed that his intentions are to prevent any more non-Jewish women, in his words, who have married Jews from being able to come into Israel. Now, you might think that that is a bigoted thing to say, but he's going to explain why. He said, and I'm quoting now, the paper quoting him, some hundreds of non-Jewish women like that have married Jewish men. Among them are female officers from the SS who married Jewish men for reasons that should be understood. Now, it's one thing if a person like myself looks around, sees what's going on, and understands that if there's a Project Paperclip in the United States and if there's a Project Gladio in Europe, there's got to be some kind of a project here. And this state might even be a project, which is really what I think. It's the difference between someone like me saying that as a result of inferences that I'm drawing from what I'm seeing every single day, to someone who was a minister in the government in charge of immigration saying that this was the case. We must presume that this was only part of what was going on, that it's much more serious than this. From what goes on at the ground level in the State of Israel, I would have to say that truly the State of Israel is a Nazi project. Moral Jews are attacked in every which way. This was talking about 1948. Very shortly after that, Jews from Yemen arrived here and they began to be sold. Netanyahu's government has admitted to the sale of those children. Not because he's giving us information that we can use, because he doesn't want us asking questions about what is happening with the children that are being taken out of the homes of poor people today. Yes, this is still going on in force. Right after that, children who came here from the Balkans were also sold. There were some Ashkenazi children who were sold. One of them, by the way, is the brother of a child who was stolen from the hospital and sold, is now an attorney by the name of Ronell Fisher, who's embroiled in a whole big scandal with the state attorney's office. Oh yeah. Soon after 1948, Jews began to arrive from Yemen and the Balkans. Many of those children were sold. Not long after that, a lot of Jews from different countries in the Levant arrived here. The State of Israel bought dated radiation equipment that was already 10 years out of date at the time that they bought it, and under the pretense of treating children for ringworm, irradiated their heads. The heads of 110,000 Sephardi Jews, most of them children, were irradiated on the pretense of treating them for ringworm. Many died. Many died almost immediately. Many developed cancer later. All of the survivors who had this done to them have some kind of problem, and to this day they have not been able to get any kind of real admission from the government about what happened, never mind any kind of apology or recompense. Not that there is a recompense, but some kind of an admission of what happened. We see the way our medical system is falling apart. We see that all of our systems, the courts, the educational system. Since when did Jews not have a good educational system? The way in which Judaism is taught in this country is extremely strange. I don't know whether or not you know how poor Israel is, because you're being told that we're getting aid from your country, if you're from America, all the time. Well, we're not seeing any of that. I don't know where it's going, and my understanding is most of it is in the form of vouchers to buy armaments from your country. It's not like we're getting cash. Your country is doing us a whole big favor, yeah, and giving us, the government, military vouchers to buy your armaments. So do me a favor, take your aid and shove it where the enriched uranium don't shine. Who needs aid like that? But you think you're doing us a whole big favor keeping us alive. Don't do us any favors, please. All of the anti-Semitic vomit that comes out of many of your anti-Semitic mouths is stuff that's been scripted by these Nazis that are embedded in our systems. You are willing or unwilling agents of these Nazis when you talk against the Jews. The state of Israel today is the most dangerous place in the world to be a moral Jew. Bar none. This is the most dangerous place in the world to be a moral Jew. I don't know one moral Jew in this country who hasn't been dragged in by the police, interrogated, had some kind of a file cooked up for them, sewn up for them, and isn't involved in some kind of legal trials. According to research that has been done, Israel has the largest gap between the richest and the poorest. A full third, even over a third of the children in this country are below the poverty line. Not the poverty line in America, not the poverty line in Europe, the poverty line in Israel, which is far lower. I have heard of children who are not going to school because their parents cannot buy shoes and winter coats for them, never mind school books. We have to pay for all of our school books and Recent research has shown that somewhere between 5 to 10% of the Jews in Israel who have been convicted of serious crimes are innocent. A couple of months ago, they let a man go who was convicted of murder. Finally, one of the judges from the Supreme Court was resigning, you know, so they give him a cherry on his cake. They let him be the one who's going to let this man go. Yeah, that's the way it works. There was another man who was released from prison. All the years he was saying, "I'm innocent," he was finally released. He died of cancer and stress. And there's the case, of course, of Roman Zadorov. Roman Zadorov is known to be innocent. And yet to this day, the state attorney's office is refusing to have the hairs that were found on the body of the 13-year-old girl who was murdered analyzed in the United States. There are new forensic DNA tests that can be done, and the state attorney is not cooperating with having those hairs examined, even though the Minister of Justice, I don't much like her, but this thing she did right, her name is Ayelet Shaked, said that those tests will be fully paid for, and yet they're dragging their heels. Why is that? There are many, many indications that the Jews here are under Nazi attack. It's like being in a bath. They got us in every way. It's our jobs, it's our housing, it's the water that we drink. The fluoride has been returned to the water. Yitzchak Litzman, Rabbi Litzman, yeah? He comes from the same group of Jews that give the boys hormones to chemically castrate them if they find them with the cell phones. I can't make this up. This is all documented. Returned the fluoride to the water. His predecessor received numerous reports that showed how dangerous fluoride is in the water. She took the water out. He returned the water. And we all know who it was who first started putting fluoride in the water, right? And why. So here we are in the state of Israel, and now all of our men, women, children, babies, prenatal embryos are all ingesting fluoride. Our medical system is collapsing. The head of one of the hospitals said that from everything he sees, the only conclusion that he can come to is that the government wants to have people die. He actually said that in so many words. He said there's no other way to explain what's happening. A child's oncology ward was closed down in Jerusalem. The children had to go to another city in order to be able to be treated for cancer. I have given over this information to the United States government. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this country is being run by Nazis and that they have a few real Jews, a few loyal Jews in all of the systems as fig leaves, as local color, so that we think that everything is okay, but that they're getting their marching orders from the Nazis to this day. It is illegal in the state of Israel to call someone a Nazi. Now, it certainly isn't a nice thing to say, but why should it be illegal? At my trial, when I'm appealing it, the judge that's hearing my appeal is the same judge that put Roman Zadorov in jail for life, by the way. One of them. Another one of them is now out of work because they finally found out that he was a sexual predator. He got so sure of himself that he picked on a state attorney and she turned him in. He was he was a nominee for the Supreme Court. We've got a problem here. You've got a deep state, we've got a state. And there is no doubt about the fact that the Nazis that are embedded here are cooperating with the Nazis that are embedded in the United States, are cooperating with the Nazis that are embedded in Europe. And we have to take care of all of this. And if you go around and blame all of the Jews for what's going on, you are a Nazi agent, either knowingly or not knowingly. And it has gotten to a point where I'm hearing Gentiles saying that the Nazis were demonized. They were actually right about the Jews. You see what the Jews are like? It's not us that's doing it. It's the Nazis that's doing it. Some of those Nazis are Jews. And their sworn enemy are the moral Jews. And when you spit their vomit all over creation and make us all look bad, you're cutting off the branch that you're sitting on. Because the moral Jews have always been the purveyors of morality in the world. If you don't have us in the world, there will be no morality in the world. We were the ones who came into the world to bring the morality. Everything you think you know about morality, you have learned from us. You do not honor your teachers. You think it's coming from you. It's not. Every good impulse you have, every good thought that you have, every good instinct that you have, everything that you know about morality, you have gotten from us. And if we're not here, you will be in hell. It is your interest to keep the moral Jews alive, because every flower that flowers in this world is because we learn Torah correctly. You get rid of us, you don't have a flower. You don't have a flower, you don't have food. You don't have anything. It is in your interest to keep the good Jews alive. Make no mistake about it. Thank you for listening.